So, all right, here we go, y'all. Here we go. We apologize we're late, but thanks for tuning in to another The Unpredictable OG. We have a special guest in the building. We got OG Alex in the building, straight out of Cali, Los Angeles. OG Alex, talk to the people real quick.
Well, I just want to tell you thank you for having me. I'm interested in the topic that you brought to light. I actually had seen some, a few things on Facebook about it, but I really didn't dive into it until you brought it up as a topic, and I think it's quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to see what you bring to the table and to, dialogue with you about it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, good people, we about to talk about, as you've seen us post it, this Noel Wells case. But before we jump into that, I do want to shout out Get a Grip Fitness. You can find him on IG, Get a Grip Fitness. Grab your merch, get your meal plan, get a great workout. Like I always say, he's led the nation for Mr. America throughout his journey. So if you don't have a coach, you need a coach. You just want to get some fly gym wear. It's super dope. There's writing on the back. Go to Get a Grip Fitness. Like I said, you can find them on IG. Get you a great meal plan. Get those muscles up. Add some life to your years to your life. At the same time, we want to shout out a couple people. Poetic Flacco, he covered this topic of Noel Wells. So thank you for leading the charge, as well as Compton Rick Rock. With that being said, y'all, we're going to jump into this Noel Well conversation. And what we're going to talk about today, it's all alleged. These are all, nothing is 100% facts. We are not here to personally attack. We are just reporting what we see, reporting how we feel about what we seen, about what we read, what we heard. Shout out to the Wells family. Our condolences go out to you. And
Definitely.
hopefully we can bring some awareness to this case, to whatever did happen to the young Wells brother, Noah. At the same time, to anybody else that,
Nolan.
yeah, to anybody else that was involved in this case, hopefully you come out and do what's right and speak up, share those videos, whatever's needed when it comes to this. So, with that being said, I'll kick off, Alex, just diving right into it, just a little backstory for those who are on here that hasn't did their own homework on this. So July 4th, Noah Wells, he's 18 years old. I believe he was in junior college, football player. Come from a pretty nice family. He went to Mississippi, Horn. I forgot what it was. Horn something, like a lake, whatever. Everybody's on boats, out there with some friends, things like that. And he didn't make it home that night. He didn't make it home. The three friends that he was with made it. The young lady that he met there for the first time made it home. Uh, Based on a lot of the stories, just giving a small recap right now. Um, when his friends that he went with, that he was with the whole time, the three, you know, not going to call them defendants because they are technically just innocent until proven guilty, that was there. Uh, they had his phone. They had his phone. And they didn't turn over his phone to his mother right away. So just jumping out there and just starting off, small. Uh, I just want to know, what all have you seen when it comes to this case so far?
You speaking with me?
Yeah, yeah. What all have we seen?
Oh, sorry about that. Well, first of all, I want to start off by saying that I really commend his parents for how quickly they solicited help. One of the things that I find interesting about this case, and in general, when you're dealing with a loved one that's passed away, and you know that, especially when there's an investigation, it's really important to get somebody involved early on. because the quicker you get help, the less likely the information is to be contaminated. So one of the things that I observed in some of the interviews with the attorney that they secured, Ben, is that he's moving, he's actively moving quickly to make sure that things are, I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? Preserved. So I was listening to his interview and he's saying how they want to do an autopsy of their own, an independent autopsy, and how they're wanting to do it out of state. And I think all of those things are really wise decisions. Again, a lot of the times people wait until the final say before they try to, solicit any type of assistance. So that was one of the things that I thought was really intelligent and important move on the parents' part. As far as the investigation as a whole, there was a lot of things that came up that was suspect to me. Again, the one where you mentioned about the phone, the friends having the phone when they left. They left early. He remained behind, but they said he left it on the boat. It just didn't seem likely. I mean, again, a lot of people are saying the same thing with the way everyone is right now with their phones. Everybody has their phones with them at all times.
Yeah.
It would be different if you're telling me he left it in your car because it ran out of charge and he was charging it or something to that extent. But, that just doesn't seem likely to me that he would leave the phone. But it could have happened, right? We don't know.
True.
The other thing that I thought was interesting is I found information where it talks about the fact that his friends left early, right? They say they have no contact. They're expecting him to leave with someone else, right? So my thing is, how is it that one of these kids called Coast Guard? Why were they even looking for him? Why were they calling Coast Guard, concerning him?
Yeah.
They left. They thought he was with someone else. What was the concern?
Yeah.
And why aren't the investigators releasing the Coast Guard call? And then there's another weird thing that happened. After they called Coast Guard and Coast Guard said that they couldn't get involved, that whatever the call, the involvement of the call, whatever they told them on the call, right? It wasn't enough to solicit them to go out and investigate. And then now the mom calls at midnight. If your child is 18 years old, going out on the 4th of July, why are you looking for them at midnight? Did he have a midnight curfew? Did somebody call her after they called the Coast Guard? I mean, these are questions that are rising in my mind.
Yeah. So when I think back to it, and I think back and I say, okay, one, he's with a friend, right? He's with his 3 friends. And the first thing that everybody's doing right now, everybody's shifting blame on the people you were with, right? That's always number one, okay?
Right.
And we know the friends when you look at the 3 friends, they did a couple things that are in question. Yes, you left him, but you have his phone. It's being reported that his phone had a facial lock on there. So how did you unlock his phone? Because
let's talk about that.
Yeah, because
I want to talk to you about that.
Okay, talk to me.
Because I'm not really familiar with all these phone things, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was confused about that. So you tell me, you may know about this, and you can clear this up in my mind because that was going through my head as well. If you have a facial recognition, you don't have a PIN?
So you can have both. So that's the thing. You can have both. It just depends on if you set it up to have a PIN or a facial. Okay? So it's kind of like, I know using my iPhone, I have a facial. At the same time, I have a double PIN. So if I'm making a purchase, you need my face and you need a PIN to go ahead and unlock my phone. At the same time, you can have a thumbprint, any fingerprint, and a facial at the same time. It just depends on how he has his phone set up. But it raises an eyebrow, right? So his parents are saying, or it's being reported that Noel's parents are saying that there was evidence found that the boys and his family deleted certain things out of Noah's phone before giving the phone back. So,
Right.
which means the phone would have to have been unlocked from the time that Noah disappeared to the time that, they turned over the phone. Sorry, the time they turned over the phone. But then I questioned, so if that was our first opening why that everybody had, why we should blame the boys, I mean, well, how did the mom get in? How did the mom get into his phone so quick?
Right. That's why I said this seemed weird to me, because I can understand. I think sometimes when people are reporting information, I think they drag it an extra, they have to captivate people. But when I'm listening to things, I'm trying to get what's real, right? And so I'm thinking to myself the same thing. If only his face could open the phone, no one should be able to open the phone without his face. But I'm thinking that there's a possibility that, just like on my phone, I can do my fingerprint, but if my fingerprint is not working, I can bypass with a code. Now, that doesn't mean they couldn't get in the phone, right? Because just like I know, you have your friends, you have your kids, you have whoever, and you're like, hey, let me get into your phone. And then you just shoot them the code and then they get in. So I just think that, did they get in the phone? Possibly. Did they delete some information that could have been, crucial? Possibly. But then that whole narrative that I was hearing, where it's like, so they had to have his dead body and put it on the face, is extra. I think that's
Yeah.
that's extra.
I mean, because
Something I would be narrating.
yeah, because if we want to say, okay, now they're not reporting that he had any bruises, strangulation marks. Now, true, that takes you back to your other point of why the family hired a private investigator, right? Because the county of Mississippi, I believe it's Jackson County, is basically reporting the case is no foul play. He in the water, probably drowned, wasn't the best swimmer, right? How
But it's
far?
still an open investigation.
Yeah, but
It's still open investigation. And according to what I found, look today and research, the coroner still hasn't released the findings.
no, but they want to close the case out. They're talking about closing the case, which is going to open up a bigger conversation about who their parents are and their
Oh, of
upbringing
course.
and friends, right? But just to stay
Definitely.
on the boys really quick, the three boys, because that's at large, that's what everybody's looking at. They're reporting that the boys the very next day was out at a restaurant eating. Your friend is lost, but you're out at a restaurant eating the next morning. A known associate of the boys confronts them and says, hey, if Noah's lost, why are you guys not helping parents look for him? And their response, now this is their alleged response. Their response was, well, why would we help? Everybody's going to blame us anyway. Everybody's
Okay,
going to
that's a
blame
good idea.
Everybody's going to blame us anyway? I don't know, Alex. I don't know.
That's weird. I mean, it just leads to for you to question, like, how friendly were they? How much of a friend were they? How concerned were they? I would like to believe, if I have friends, that my friends are gonna be concerned and go looking for me. But then again, maybe I'll be watching from above and saying, boy, they out there eating.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't have any friends.
But it takes you back to where, how well do you really know somebody when you go on these type of trips? Are they really your friend? And in this day and age, where to, like we said, OG Alex, OG Whispers, we were raised different. But nowadays, we're raising our kids. No, come, baby. Come in the house. Come eat with mom. Come eat with dad. No, no, don't go to that party. Let's go shopping. We're trying to find ways to keep our kids in because of reasons like this. How well do you know this boy? How
I've
well do you know
always
this
been like
girl?
this. OG Alex has always been like this. I trust you as far as I can throw you. The only time I may let my guard down maybe is with family. But when it comes to people that have indicated that they were my friends, oh, I have a designated family member for even my friends that I tell where I'm going, when I'm going. They have my location, and I'm a grown woman. But I've always been like that. I'm not going nowhere with no one because again, maybe coming from LA and living in a certain neighborhoods, you just never know. I mean, your same friends that were hanging out with you were the same ones that were taking your life. So I've never for myself even looked at it, and have been even more cautious of my children and making sure that they understand and understand the seriousness of it. I remember when my son was in high school, and he's telling me he's going with his friends to Burger King, right? And they're all hanging out at Burger King. And then for some reason, they switched locations and they decided not to go to Burger King and they went somewhere else, right? And when I went to go look at Burger King, there's no child there. My son's not there, right? He couldn't understand why I threw a fit. And I told him, let me tell you what my issue is with this. I said, the minute that you are missing, you told me you were at Burger King. We're going to start looking for you at Burger King when you are at KFC. By the time we realize you weren't at Burger King and you're at KFC, that's time lost for me to find you. I've always been like that. I've always instilled that in my kids. So it's the same thing with this. I totally, I don't know what he told his parents, but unfortunately, it doesn't matter who it is. You have to make sure you know that there's always risks. People get into arguments. You're in an island, you're on a boat. It's not your boat. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You're depending on someone else. It's no different than getting in a car. Somebody gets mad at you and throws you off on Highway 10 in the middle of 115-degree heat. You may not make it back either.
Yeah.
And you don't have a phone because supposedly you left it on the charger. You're in trouble.
Which see, and that's what takes me to Noel's mom, right? Because as much as we have inconsistencies with the three boys, you have a mother who was freaking out over an 18-year-old, 19-year-old college student of not being home. I think her first message went out around 6, then 8, then 10. So you were freaking out, which raises eyebrows as well, right? But, as I looked at the chat,
Well, you have to think about it. If they left at 4:30, right?
yeah,
And he didn't have his phone, she may have been messaging them.
and
Who
he probably
knows?
wasn't
And then that's
responding.
another thing too. She's not. I haven't seen her interview, but let's say hypothetically she's a mother and she texts, and these kids might have texted her back on his phone.
Ah, we getting somewhere now.
You never know. I mean, there's a lot of missing information. If I didn't see anything, I didn't get that far into my research to know that was what transpired. The only thing I thought was strange is the Coast Guard call at 11 by one of the friends, and then she missed filing a missing report at midnight for her son, because I know if my son was 18 running with his friends on 4th of July, I don't think I would be looking for him to be home by midnight.
Yeah. So
I just wouldn't.
So I'm gonna go to the chat really quick, and we got Tania in the chat, right? We got Tania Clay, 8257. So she has a couple comments. So she says, "We come together, we leave together." Now that's a known
Right.
fact. That's
Yeah.
something I grew up on as well, right? If I win
Right.
with you, I'm leaving with you. Now we do know too that he came with these three boys. They're in his social group, but there was another boat that had his actual best friend on that boat. His true best friend was on a different boat, which we're going to get into because they said both of those boats actually had confrontation. Okay, so we're going to get into that. But really quick, Now the next question Tania's asking us is, did Noah live with his parents? And what I will say is, based on my
I don't think
findings,
so.
well, based on my findings, and based on the way that Noah's mother was reporting, was searching for him, she was searching and reporting and sending out these social media things as if he lives there, as if anytime that she reaches out, he always responds, which is probably why it raised the red flag to her. If he did not
Right.
live there, I don't think she would have made a report. And if she would have made a report that soon, that quick, then this would be a totally different conversation with a totally different viewpoint, focal point of who did what. Is this an accident? Is this a murder? You know?
Well, I want to say something because on one of the reports that I saw, it said he was to report back to school on Monday. That could be interpreted a couple different ways. I don't know. I took it as he was living on campus, but then again, I don't know. I think it said something about a community college, so I'm not really sure. That is a good question to, she raised a good question. But one of the other thing too is my thing that's coming to my mind is, again, someone called the Coast Guard at 11. I'm wondering, when Coast Guard said we can't go out there, did they then call the mom? And that's why she was prompted to call the police, because Coast Guard said they couldn't get involved. It was a police matter.
Yeah. Because it's more so like a murder. That's right. That's right.
Well,
So that's why I said, I mean, it's an accident slash could be possible. Everything's always possible. Homicide,
but
possible this.
anyone was thinking murder yet, and definitely not his mother. I think she was hoping that he was still going to be alive.
Yeah. Mom was hoping for the best, but at the same time, you know, when the story of like whatever, like we won't really know everything until we hear from the Coast Guard. What was said to the Coast Guard, right?
Right.
Because for you to call the Coast Guard,
Well, you want to know one theory that I heard?
what you got?
One of the theories that's out there is that they called Coast Guard and told him, hey, this is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. They said that it was reported that the friend called Coast Guard and said, hey, I just want to let you know that my friend decided to stay back, and we just wanted you to know he might still be at the island. I'm like, who calls Coast Guard to just say, hey, we just want to let you know we left somebody behind there, but yeah, we're about to go to dinner.
Yeah, we left him behind.
Didn't make sense.
We put him on the boat and then threw him off the boat, and we left him behind.
Well, I definitely know they didn't say that one. They probably would have reported it the next day for that one.
So right. So when you think about it, and it's the same thing Tania said. She has a really good point. One of the boys, is it Warren? I think his mom is a judge. Okay?
Yes.
So a lot of family members are in high places. So when you think about it, did the boys get home at a decent time? It's reported that they told Noah they were ready to go home at 3 o'clock. Let's go. Get on the boat. We want to go. They got home. Takes about 45 minutes. Why? Because they said the boat was taking on water. They don't want to sink, but they safe enough to drive in the boat 45 minutes to
I
get
don't know.
back.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
So
theory.
it's a report that the
what I
boat.
heard is that I forgot the name of the part, but supposedly there was some engine malfunction. I didn't hear that they were going underwater.
They said the boat was taking on water. So they had to hurry up. Come on, Noah. Get on the boat. Noah said, no, man. I'm staying with this chick, man. Yeah, I'm staying with the chick. But then, like you say, it raises eyebrows. Why would the boys call to say, hey, he's swimming. He's still in the lake swimming. He in the ocean, man. He out there. But at the same time,
oh man, don't make me laugh.
It takes you back, right? The parents are in high places. Did the boys go home, say, hey, Ma, something happened? And the mom's like, okay, hold on. Reach out. This is what we should do. They know the law like the back of their hands. This is what we're
Well,
doing.
obviously they don't know it well enough to know not to call Coast Guard
Yeah, maybe they
because
thought that
Coast
was
Guard was you have the wrong number. So whoever that judge is, she's misinformed.
okay. So
But I mean, even that raises another point. You said that the next day someone was concerned because they were out there having breakfast, right?
yeah,
And I'm wondering to myself, the judge put out a statement stating that, we're mourning with them, we're concerned for them, whatever. But that raises the same question. If all these people were so concerned and they knew this kid was missing, why didn't they prompt their kids to be more involved? Why were they not more actively involved? Or were they? I don't know.
they got a
That part
lawyer.
I didn't.
They got a lawyer. Soon as it was reported that the body was found, the three boys
But
lawyered
that's
up.
days later.
They
That's
lawyer.
days
They
later.
lawyered
If
up the
if
day
if
before.
your child is a friend of my child, first of all, I'm telling my child we need to go help in any way that we can, right? And then I'm going to want to help.
Yeah,
I'm not going to have my kids going the next day to have IHOP while somebody is missing their child.
yeah,
Because if it was my child, I wouldn't want people to take it lightly either. Especially when you know that it happened on an island and most likely it's not going to be good news.
yeah. And they're saying, oh, we know them. We know the Wells family, respectable family. So to your point, why didn't you go help? Why? If it's
Exactly.
my neighbor's kid right now can go missing. I'm going to go help. I want to
Right.
help you. I don't have to have tea with you. We don't have to have tea parties. Your kid didn't have to know my kid. It's just
Right.
common decency to go. But you're talking about three boys that went together, that should have came back together. And all you can say is, oh, the last time he was there, he chose to stay with the girl. But he didn't. Because now let's shift stories. Let's shift to the girl. Let's shift to the girl. He meets this girl for the first time. They hanging out. It said, allegedly, he walked her back to her boat. It said that Noah told this young lady, hey, I'm going to walk you back to your boat, and then I got to go back to my boat because my friends want to leave.
Right.
Okay? So, how would she know that they wanted to leave if that wasn't Noah's intentions to get back on that boat? How would she
Right.
know the time frame that these young men wanted to go back home if
Right.
Noah didn't tell her that? Okay? Then, you know, there was a couple stories where people want to spin the narrative, right? Oh man, well it's Mississippi. It's Mississippi. He's a black guy talking to a white girl. Well, let's just take race out of it for a moment. Did he stop somewhere else? Was there a different person? Did he see his other friends? Right? But at the end of the day, how would she know that? You know, there was a story where there was people trying to shift blame to the young lady, right? But at the end of the day, she knew too much. She went back, her and her family that didn't know Noah at all, went back and helped search for this gentleman, for Noah. So, my question to you is, what do you think about when it comes to this young lady's involvement? The fact that she was willing to help, the fact that she's cooperating, and there's a lot of good stories about her. You know, does that make her innocent? Does it make her guilty? Should she be held accountable just like the other three guys? Because technically, one of them seen this young gentleman, Noah, for his last breath. One of them seen him right before. So where would you place her at, you know, if you had to pass judgment, if you had to give your thoughts fully on who's right, who's wrong, because we don't know if it's a murder, if it was a innocent drowning. We don't know if Noah thought he was Michael Phelps and tried to swim back. We don't know. But what's your take on this young lady's point of view and her involvement in this case? What do you think?
Well, I'll say this: it depends, because they're saying that there's a video of a fight, of an argument. So if that argument is not with her, right? And then I'm likely to say, if I just met you, I have no reason to want to see you dead. I don't even know you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if we had an argument because you're intoxicated and you grabbed on me, well, that might just be a little bit different. So until we determine who's on that video, where they're saying that there was a disagreement with someone, that he had a disagreement, altercation with someone, I can't say. But if she's not on that video, then I would say her story aligns with my friends are leaving, I gotta go, I'm out of here, right?
Yep.
Now, did they leave him behind? Right?
Yeah.
And they didn't, and he didn't have a way home, because these strangers are like, we're not taking you, we don't know you. I mean, we don't have room for you. Their boat was sinking, but ours is going to sink if we put you on with us because we have too many people. I don't know. So again, there's a lot of theories, but again, like I said, if she didn't have any type of altercation, her story lines up with what was said. They're leaving early, right? They're going to go. It was nice meeting you. I'll catch you again. And I'm curious. I wonder too, if I was talking to her, I would have asked her, hey, when he met you, did he have his phone? Did he get your number?
Right.
Did you save your number in his phone? That's what I want to know.
So
did Katie tell anybody if he had his phone at the time that they were exchanging,
Yeah, because he walked her to the boat. So that's the question. Did Noah have his phone when he walked her to the boat? If the answer is yes.
Because if I'm talking to you and we're trying to get to know each other, they liked each other, maybe they exchanged information. I would like to know, at the time that you spoke to Nolan, did he have his phone in his hand at that time?
Yeah.
Nolan. It's Nolan.
Nolan. Oh, shit. That's my bad. Damn it. I be messing up. I'm old, y'all. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, finish up.
But yeah, so that would be a question I would have asked the young lady. One, did you have an altercation? Is she the one in the video? Was there some kind of dispute between them? And if not, then my question would be, again, like I said, did he have his phone when he was talking to you? Did you guys exchange information? Because then, again, that would, let you know he had his phone at that point.
Yeah.
And then I wonder with Katie, I'm wondering, did Katie see him leave? Did he get on the boat with his friend? She said he walked her but did she see him get on his boat? What did she see him do when he walked off?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, it's nice to know that exactly what I told you normal people do. Her and her family, I don't know this, I didn't see this, I'm just going by what you said, but if that's accurate, then her and her family went to help look for a kid that she just met, because that would be the right thing to do. Where was everybody else?
Exactly.
Something that I'm going to tell you is going to be really interesting, though.
Talk to me. What you got?
You mentioned something earlier, and you were saying about how they they have people in high places, and how his mom's a judge and this and that and the other, right? And now you have this attorney working on the family side, putting pressure, trying to get answers. I will absolutely tell you that I believe this wholeheartedly, that if it comes to light that there is some, malplay here and that the boys were involved, little Judge's son is going to be a little canary. He's going to be definitely looking for, some special privileges, and he's going to forget all about those two other friends. Because if I was a judge, that's definitely what I would be telling my son if it was getting too hot and somebody had to talk, right?
Yeah.
Because it's self-preservation. I don't know these people. I don't know that her son did anything or that any of these boys did anything. But just from the system in itself, what we know about the system and what they do, right? We know that they have privilege. We know that you have to have like an airtight argument in order to have anything happen. And then if I'm a judge, I'm definitely telling my son, like, hey, we're about to speak, we're going to tell it, because now it's going to give you the opportunity to get a deal that they're not going to get. So unless their parents are judges or something to that effect, that's a higher level than her, she's going to save her son and everybody else is going to be hung.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think they were saying that one of the kids' boys have mother's a judge, another one has a parent that's a lawyer. So it seems like there's a lot of high places, which makes you believe, do all the parents of the three boys work in the
Well,
same?
who do you think is going to get the best deal, the lawyer or the judge?
What I
Whose
think
son is going to get the better deal?
this is what I think could. I think what happened is, one of the parents, the lawyer, is going to try the case,
Didn't you know that
and
a
then it's
queen
going to be
trumps
in
a
the
jack?
the judge courtroom. So,
It doesn't. Well, it's not necessarily even going to be in the judge's courtroom. That can't happen. That's a conflict of
well,
interest.
they're going to put it in
But
somebody's courtroom that they know.
I don't. I'm not even concerned about it even going that far. I don't think it will go that far. If it really gets that bad, now it's time to talk, and then all of a sudden it's justice, because my son is now spilling the beans, he's getting a deal, right? But again, like I said, you're saying that you have one parent that's a judge. I know the judge. I don't know if the other kid has a parent that's a lawyer, but even the lawyer and the other one could be a cop.
Oh
You could have a
man,
cop, a lawyer, and a judge. The judge's son will be out. I don't know about those other two kids, because the lawyer is not going to trump the judge. I doubt it.
yeah,
And the cop, he should have went to college.
yeah,
I'm just teasing. I don't know where these people's parents are, but I mean, again, like I said, on a serious note, I'm making comedy because it's sad. The truth is, we don't get justice in situations like this when people have that kind of pull or when they have big money. We know that. I mean, we're always disappointed. It's
yeah,
the truth. So that's why these parents had to go to the extent that they had to go, right? But I'm glad that they did. And I hope that they get the justice that they deserve. One other thing, too, I want to bring up, because I don't know how much longer we're going to be on here, but I do want to bring up this point. I saw something online where they said he was drunk. They were drinking. So I want to know who's being held accountable for that. Why are they underage drinking? Who was old enough to bring alcohol?
it's a good
Are
question.
they, if nothing else, isn't it manslaughter?
So, okay,
If
so
he
you
was
think,
drunk and he drank,
so he was drunk,
shouldn't have.
and then he turned into Forrest Gump, started swimming across the ocean to get home. So he was drunk swimming. It takes me back to, right? There was a story, I believe it was 5, 6 women, something similar. They said she was drunk or on something. Everybody woke up, she's dead in the backyard. And now they're saying Nolan drunk and did not make it back to the boat. Or did he make it back to the boat and jump off? What would the story be? To your point, eventually, with the parents taking the body out of state, private investigators, and doing their own research, which is probably the best thing that they could have done. And I'm glad they're doing it. But when these boys start talking and spilling the beans, what could they really say? What do you think they can really say? The judge son or not, what could he really say that will implement the other two boys and get him off? I don't think nothing.
I mean, we don't know until we know what happened. We don't know how he died or how he passed away.
Will
So it
we ever?
depends. It's easy. It depends. If he was drowned or whatever happened, he could easily say, it wasn't me. It was my friend, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't feel comfortable saying anything. I mean, there's a lot of things. Again, it could go a lot of ways. The bottom line is, when it comes to stuff like this, right? They always say if one person is willing to talk and throw everybody under the bus, It saves everybody money, right? It saves the money from the trial and this, and it's a guaranteed conviction. So it really doesn't matter what he says. He can say we were all part of it, but there's still, because of his position, his mother's, the title, or whoever takes the deal. If someone is smart enough to take a deal before, but again, the other kids probably can't even take a deal if they want to, because you have this judge, and I don't know. I don't really know how it works. I just know what I see in the movies, right? But like I said, with that being said, let's say no one did anything. Let's say it was alcohol. I've seen in other situations where kids were doing drugs together, right? Someone got hurt, and those kids were held accountable because they knew that the person was drunk, high or whatever, and then they drowned, and then they left them because they got nervous. But still, if nothing else, wouldn't it be manslaughter? Why were they with alcohol? They're under 21.
Yeah.
He's 18 years old. He should have no alcohol in his system. So then that leads me to ask the question, like, if they're talking about everybody drinking, but then what happens to these kids that were all out there drinking? Who's responsible? Who brought the alcohol? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
And do you hold that person accountable?
Exactly.
Are they going to say Nolan brought it? Okay, where's the receipt? What credit card did he use? What cash what store did he go to? Every store has a camera now. So if you can't prove Nolan bought all the alcohol, who's 18, so who brought the alcohol? And I think, if nothing else, they should be held accountable for something.
Yeah, that's a fact. Because, if that's the storyline we go on, and that's the narrative that everybody wants us to go with, he's drunk swimming, drunk partying, he's arguing, he had an altercation, like you said, where's the person that brought the alcohol? If he's drunk, where are the people that he argued with? Who's seen him go to any boat? I don't care what boat he went to. It's so many people there. What boat? Somebody had to see him. When you look at the recording of the altercation, you see, I think I see.
Did you see it?
Yeah, you see a lot of people recording from a distance.
He was on it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so you can see it. It's just, honestly, it looks like a boat of black people, a boat of white people having an issue, right?
Oh, no.
And now the bad part and the bad part was Nolan is the middleman to both of the boats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because his best friend was on the other boat, and then the three boys was on his boat. The best friend tried to ride, based on reports, don't know, this is all allegedly, the best friend tried to get on the boat with Nolan with the other three boys, and they told him, no, we don't have room. So the best friend had to go on another boat with another group of friends that they were arguing with. So it's a lot to come from this. What you gonna say?
I was going to ask, is there any theories in the comments? What is everybody saying? I mean, do they have any theories?
I mean, right now, the last thing Tania said is, which is a fact, that there's reporters everywhere. There's always somebody reporting something. If this is a known vacation spot or destination for that crowd, wouldn't there be cameras?
On an island?
Wouldn't have.
Clearly what happens in Horn stays in Horn. I needed to be there when I was younger.
No, you might not be here today if you was. So we happy to have you.
Right. You're probably right.
We happy to have you.
Although I did my best swimming when I drank. I probably would have made it from the island.
Man, I'll be fighting for my life. I mean.
Oh, I would have been on that boat. I'm going to tell you that. If I would have been with those three boys, I would have been on that boat. I might have been on there by myself, or it might have sank all of us, but I would have been on that boat.
Yeah, because, and that raised a question to me too. Okay, let's say we
I
go with the
wonder could he swim? I wonder if he was able to swim, because one thing I heard the attorney say, which I wasn't clear about his answer. They asked him, could he swim? And he was like, he was an avid athlete. I'm like, okay, but was he an avid swimmer?
yeah.
I'm like, I don't
They
understand.
they never touched up. They still haven't said if he can swim or not swim. But to your point, if you on a boat with three friends, forget how big they are. If they all try to pick you up and throw you off the boat, if that's the narrative that we go with right now, okay? Because that's what most people want to believe. He has to have some form of something underneath his nails. Something. Did he wasn't a small
Well, it
child.
depends. It depends. If you think about it, a speedboat is fast. I'm telling you, throwing somebody off of a boat, you don't even have to be three big people. You just have to be sitting in the right place, and I just have to push you with the right amount of force for you to fall over. A speedboat is going pretty fast. I don't think it takes force. And he may
Mm,
have been caught off guard and off balance and just fell off. And if I don't come back for you,
yeah,
you're in the middle of nowhere. Like I said, it's no different than dropping someone off on the I-10 in the middle of nowhere. We don't have any more toll booths on the freeway. You know what I mean? If you don't have a cell phone and you don't have anybody driving by in that 115-degree heat, you're out of here.
yeah,
You can forget about it. You got an attitude. You drop me off on the side of the road. Most of the time, people driving by are they're not concerned. Maybe if I'm half decent, pretty girl, somebody will stop. But if I'm not, let me be 400 pounds. No one's stopping for me. They figure I need the exercise. They're leaving me there. So I'm gonna be just as hurt as anybody else. I'm not gonna make it. The heat is gonna get me. I'm not gonna have any water. I'm not gonna have a phone. So if again, I don't know what the story is, but if he fell off the boat while it was in motion, it doesn't take a lot to
yeah.
fall off of a boat. It does take a lot to turn around and come back and pick someone up, though.
Well, I don't be on
So
boats. I don't get on boats. Yes, I can swim. No, anybody out there looking like, hey, let's take Whispers on the boat. Let's throw him off. It ain't gonna happen. Don't try it. Uh, I'm gonna scratch you up. Even with this crooked finger, see it's crooked. I'm gonna scratch you up with that finger. You gonna have some DNA underneath this crooked finger. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you that
I'm gonna
goddamn
tell you
much.
something. If you fall off the boat, just lay flat on your back.
I'm gonna
Let
be
your
alright.
body float.
I'm gonna
You
go to
probably
the.
will last for quite a while.
I'm gonna go
They would have
outside
came
right
back that
now.
night. They would have found
I'm gonna go outside right now to the pool, and I'm gonna try it. If I don't come back for the next
practice.
segment, y'all know what happened to me.
Yeah, you're gonna blame Alex. Say I threw you in the pool and you never made
Alex
it back.
Tippett. Alex told me you got to plead guilty.
You just again, you just have to know who you're dealing with.
Yeah,
Um, it's unfortunate, things like this really make you second guess things. It's like just simple things can be the end of your life, and it's so sad because this kid was only 18 years
yeah,
old. You know what I mean? These people have to mourn their son, 18 years old, over him just going to try to have a good time. And it's crazy because somebody knows what happened, whether it's the people that were involved and did it, whether it was just Nolan because he did it. You know what I mean? Again, who's to say? Kids get drunk. He might have got drunk. He might have done something and you know never lived to tell the story, right? But when things like this happen, sometimes unfortunately your story never gets told.
yeah,
It's just the universe that knows really what happened. And hopefully, like I said, maybe they'll get their truth, maybe they won't. But I think they're taking all the proper steps. If there is any possibility of getting answers, I think they move quickly and they moved appropriately. And I pray that they get the answer that they deserve.
yeah. That's 100%. I think the body showed up for a reason. I think the body showed up for a reason. And I think the parents are taking the right steps to getting answers. Now, depending on what the autopsy says that they did in Mississippi, depends on what it says through their private autopsy and investigation, there's a chance they get the answer they want. Well, technically, there is no right answer, okay? Because their son is dead. There is no right answer,
Yeah.
okay? But you get the answer that something did happen to him, not going to make you feel better.
Nope.
Or you get the answer that we don't see any bumps, we don't see any bruises. Life happened, and it goes down as a innocent act, right? It goes down as an innocent act. Then what happens is, where does the family go from there? Where do these three boys that are being targeted, scrutinized right now, where do they go? If the parents' investigation comes back that they are innocent, what happens?
I mean, at the end of the day, they're alive. They go back to their normal
Yeah,
lives. It gets forgotten. The only person that's going to suffer through this in the end is Nolan's family. That's it. Their story is never going to change. So the three boys, okay, right now they're going through it, right? Everybody's either accusing them or not. The girl is getting accused or not, right? But at the end of the day, the bottom line is they're still here. And it's no different than a kid in school getting bullied, right?
yeah,
They hopefully they get over it. But at the end of the day, what counts and what's most important is this family that lost their kid, and hoping that they get the story behind what happened, and so that they could at least get some closure. If it was an injustice, that they get the justice that they deserve. If it was just, negligence because some silly kids did some silly stuff, then, they get to know that too, and they
yeah,
get their peace. But either way, it's not going to be a happy ending for them. It's
yeah.
something they got to live with for the rest of their lives. And then the other thing too is they have two younger children.
Wow, wow. Well, salute to their. I mean, not salute, but prayers go out to
Prayers
their
for them.
family.
Prayers to them.
Prayers to their family. This is it's not easy for nobody. This is something that all parents, all family, you know, this is what we fear of when we go outside. Am I gonna come back? But this is why, you know, tell your kids, tell your mom, tell your parents, tell all your loved ones you love them. Because you don't know. You just don't. And it's sad that we live in a world like this, but at the same time, if this is a normal act of life, that something happened and there was no foul play, you know, like you said, there's tears are still going to be shed regardless.
Right.
People are going to feel the way they want to feel. Whether you know something and not saying something, whether you're racially motivated through this, whether you lost a friend, family, a child the same way. Does this sound like another case? However you want to view this, there's nothing that's going to make this right. There's nothing that's going to have us jump on here and say, yes, yes, nothing. Because somebody lost their lives. And you can't reverse that. There's no reversing. So before we leave out of here, if there's anything you can say to our viewers, to Nolan's family, to anybody that was out there that's seen something that hasn't spoke up, what would be your words to them?
These will be my last words because you're about to lose me. Unfortunately, I'm losing power. But I just say that I pray that God gives them the peace that they need and the closure that they need. And that I hope that if anybody knows anything, that they help this family. Because if it was us, we would want that same consideration.
So with that being said, you guys,